everybody. Glen here from W.A.L.K.E.R. And Friday, March 26th at 8 PM GMT, we're going live on YouTube with The Metal Galaxy. So we're going to dive into all things W.A.L.K.E.R, our new single, live shows, and all good rock music. We're waiting for you.
So, hello everyone.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
People.
Welcome. So tonight we have less Irish band. We have something different and something Irish. So we have a rock and roll band called W.A.L.K.E.R. So I will give the microphone to them so they can introduce themselves.
I'm Glen, I front the band. I'm the singer, the rhythm guitar player.
My name's Kelan. I play guitar also, and sometimes sing as well.
And I'm Peter, and I play bass with these guys.
So, welcome, guys. So let's talk about rock first, as you're a rock band. So if I read correctly, the idea of W.A.L.K.E.R was to bring rock back to a mainstream audience. So my question now is, how do you think rock has evolved since the 70s, and in what way are you going to bring back this to mainstream audience?
It has evolved since the 70s. I think it has evolved for the better. Like, I think what we do with our type of music is kind of in a culmination of the best of the 70s, the best of the 80s, with a little twist of our own. So, like, I think there is a kind of, you can put everything together in a mix and bowl and put the best out there for the masses, you know? What do you think, Kelan?
Well, I suppose the approach of making music for the masses doesn't stray too far from how rock was at its peak in, I suppose, any of the years that you mentioned, depending on what type of rock you're talking about. But if you took like late 80s stuff, if it's a mainstream appeal, you'd probably think of bands like Bon Jovi or something like that. They were big because you could sing along. And I suppose that's something that you can say with every song that we've put out. You can sing along to them after listening to them once.
Yeah, for sure. I can agree that, because like I listen to all of your songs and they're very easy to remember, and just after listening once, you can definitely, sing along.
Exactly.
It's funny you say that, because I've been playing some of the songs in the house, and some of the lines I'm forgetting. So they're easy to remember, but when you haven't played them in so long, it's kind of like, oh God, will I remember that when we get back?
But I'm wondering now, so you mentioned Bon Jovi and so on, but don't you think the music is still lyrics easy to remember, but don't you think rock evolved since Bon Jovi and so on until now?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like it, you could take a look at from late 80s to early 90s, you had the kind of the glam hard rock stuff, and then that kind of twisted and turned into kind of the total opposite, which was grunge. And then from there, you got much heavier stuff. And now I think we're probably at a point where it's the best possible situation, because if you want to listen to any of the subgenres of rock, you can. It's the easiest time to do it. You can just go on YouTube or even Spotify, and you can hear any band from anywhere across the world. So I suppose rock has become more mainstream because of how accessible it is. It's just not on, I suppose, radio as much. That's probably the only difference. But has YouTube kind of compensated for that? I'd say it probably has.
I think it has.
So let's recap, Kelan, what you say. You just say that like it become more accessible, and like it's and Walker goes back to the period of the 70s, correct?
I'd say we're probably mid-80s type period. But yeah, music is more accessible. Like, we have people who will say this is a great song or whatever on whatever we upload, and they're from Texas, and then the next day we'll get someone from Mexico or Australia even. So it's more accessible. I don't think we'd be able to do that if we started playing in the 80s or 90s.
Yeah, for sure. You have like, which channels you use? You use then Spotify and something else?
Spotify, YouTube. We use all streaming services, but I think Spotify is a big one for us, and YouTube is also a big one.
And why the particular focus on 85, like rock?
Well, I think it's just kind of what really appeals to us. Like, for me, my kind of music palette would be consistent of like Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue, Bon Jovi as well, like Kelan said. So they kind of do have that mid 80s sound anyway. And then when you go to write a sound, you got to write a song, it's going to come through in the song that it has that kind of sound. But I do think that it's yeah, it's a kind of an 80s sound, but I think that there is a sort of not even a modern sound. I think that it's kind of a sound that it doesn't sound dated in a sense. Like, some of the mid 80s stuff you could listen to and you go, oh, that's the 80s. Like, you know, it's not from today. But I think that some of the stuff we play, obviously time is going to tell, but I think some of the stuff we play is going to, you know, it's not going to date so badly as much as, you know, some of the other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And so with the music, it's clear, so what you're doing, but I'm wondering anything with the attitude that you say we want to bring rock, we want to have a certain rock attitude, or you just say let's
all have a good time again. Like, I'm sick of the people that stare at their shoes and, you know, they kind of wake up and get out of bed and they get on stage and they're still wearing the, you know, the whatever t-shirt you have on from 2 weeks ago. And, you know, like, that's not how you put on a show. Like, from my perception of bringing rock back is that we all get together with the people we love, the people we want to hang out with. We listen to our favorite music and we have a hell of a time. And, you know, it's a party. It's not just a concert, it's a show.
I got a very clear picture. Thank you guys for just clearing up what bringing rock means.
Cool, guys. So I would like to ask, what do you think about the Irish rock metal scene? I don't know if Pete wants to answer this. How long have you been into this scene, Pete?
The rock metal scene, I started playing back in 1989. So, and it was, I just say it was very different then, you know.
Of course.
the only way to get your music out then was just to sell demo tapes at your gigs, and to try and send them into radio stations. That was the only way to do it. There was a show called the Metal Show on R2FM back. I think it ran from 1991 to 1999. It used to every Sunday evening, and the big thing was to send your tapes in there. And John Kenny was the producer, the host. I think he does sport now, but the big thing was to get your demo sent in and have it played on air. It was on 2FM every Sunday night, but that was the big thing, and that was it was either that, or if you were lucky to have MTV, you could watch Headbangers Ball, but that was it. I mean, it's, as Kelan says, it's far more accessible now.
Yeah,
you know.
For sure.
So, but I mean, regarding today, I haven't really. I think Glen and Kelan might have a better clue about it today. I haven't really looked that much into it. I suppose I'm just.
How you join the band?
I hope it's pretty healthy. That's all I can say.
How you join the band? If I'm correct, you are a session.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yes.
I met Kelan. We were playing. Is it okay if I mention the other guy, Kelan? guy we were playing with.
Yeah.
Yeah, a friend of mine who I used to play with, Tommy Rocket, in a band called Stone Trigger, and I met Tommy did a solo project, and Kelan was the guitarist. He got Kelan to play guitar, and I was involved on bass. And Kelan asked me to start playing with W.A.L.K.E.R when he and Glen got together, and it's been a good ride so far. I'm enjoying it.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
He's a hell of a player.
I hope so.
Yeah, good. So, Glen, what is your opinion about the Irish metal scene? Irish metal scene.
If I can make a bold statement, I don't think there really is one, and I think it's due to the fact that, right, obviously we have this pandemic, but even before that, like, there used to be different venues, and the other two guys might know a bit better, like, what kind of venues were out there. I know there was one, the Gypsy Rose, which we played in as well, that got that was closed down. It seems that every kind of club and bar and any kind of rock outlet is being closed, and the only really remaining one now is Fibber McGee's that's in Parnell Street. So like, I feel that, like,
we need more venues.
Hopefully there's a bright future for the rock scene, but I think now it's a little bit stagnant. So hopefully we can kick it in the ass and get all the other bands out there as well. And I want to see more rock bands out there, you know?
Kelan?
I'd say, I agree there with Glen. It was a noticeable difference when there were really only like two main dedicated rock venues. Like, if you want to play a show, you can book a gig in any venue you want. You just have to pay the booking fee.
Yes.
But as like a dedicated rock venue, we had Fibber McGee's and we had the Gypsy Rose. So once the Gypsy Rose closed and turned into I think it's like a dance club or whatever now, it was a noticeable difference just how hard it became to get gigs, because the same amount of bands that were split over two venues went into one. And like, just if looking at the Irish scene, there's probably one bar per city, which is a shame, especially when you look at Dublin, how many people. But there is a good side to that as well, though. If you're playing on a night, it's going to be more busy.
Yes.
So and there's nothing better than like a full-on packed crowd when you're playing. It's the best. I miss it so much just thinking about it. But
and so, even I think to even add to your point, like, our very last show we played, if you remember, it actually was a full packed house.
Yeah, it was.
So that even adds more of a sting.
Yeah, Fibbers, yeah.
So I think, to answer your question about the Irish rock metal scene, I think it's as healthy as it can be, but there's certain things that could make it better.
Yeah. I think it needs more venues.
Yeah.
Needs more.
There used to be some good venues in Dublin back in the 90s. I remember there was Barnstormers and places like that, McGonagall's. There were some good places, and they just tore them down for some reason.
Another venue was the Pint. You remember the Pint?
The Pint Bar,
yeah.
It's still there.
Nice
that's still there. I'm not sure what it's called now. What's it called again? We did the video there.
It's called the Wild Fox.
Wild Fox.
We actually played there. We did an acoustic show there.
No, it wasn't. Oh yeah, we played the acoustic show, and then upstairs we recorded the Dreaming of You video, and we played.
That's right.
Okay. It was nice venue. Yeah, I've been there for some metal concerts and stuff. Yeah, but also
I never been there. I don't know what's the fine.
It's on the Keys.
For 2 million town, we only have one rock metal bar, so it's actually
Fibbers.
Yes. It's only Fibbers, and it's only venue. Yeah, small venue, but it's still venue. You have also Voodoo, but Voodoo is a bit far, and I don't know how is the situation there. If you want to play there.
Haven't seen gigs there in a while.
It's mainly.
But now we have also Grand Social.
Yeah. We played our first, or not our first, but it was a co-headline show with another band there. That was one of our last shows.
We're actually we're scheduled to play there this November. Fingers crossed, all going well. We're supposed to be supporting a band called Enough's Enough. And we're supposed to be playing in November 4th, I believe it is, in the Grand Social. All going well, of course.
That would be great to see
that
you
would be
there.
great.
That would be great to see
Fingers
you.
crossed.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I'm crossing my leopard print shoes.
Good.
Okay, guys. So I know you're kind of working on new material because you have just released a single. So would you make a new album or would you go for EP? And like how much of the stuff you have recorded so far?
Well, actually, the intention was to make an album, but obviously with the whole pandemic, it turned into being an EP. And we have music that we have in our how would you put it? We have music that we can put out, you know, but we're just kind of waiting for the right time. So it obviously needs to be recorded, it needs to be put out. But it was completely meant to be released as an album. But I think having said that, it is a strong EP. And I do believe, in my opinion, it's better than the first one.
Cool. And like how many songs would it have, or do you have it like?
That's a 6-song EP, and I think, I believe the first one was a 5.
Yeah.
But you said it's better, so why it's better than the previous one? We all still have to listen, but maybe you can share some secrets why it's better.
Because I wrote some songs on it. Obviously, there's an element of the first EP was completely written by Kelan, or Kelan, I should do it that way, shouldn't I? So you kind of get his spin on Walker, if that makes any sense. And I mean that with all due respect. I completely love that first EP. I think it's some of the best stuff we have. But I like the aspect of me and Kelan coming together and writing music, and it sounds, in my opinion, more like a band. And I think it's just stronger material as well. Like, I'm really proud of Spreading the Disease.
It's like teamwork. You're just building together and you're mixing and making a nice cocktail.
Exactly.
So if I get it correctly, so Kelan wrote the first EP with the music and lyrics, basically everything, right? Wow.
Yeah. Well, close enough to almost everything, but there were like certain parts. When you bring a song to someone, or at least when I brought songs to Glen, like how Walker started was I met Glen at a show and we were just talking, and said, well, maybe we could play some acoustic songs with each other, you know, do some covers. And we did that, and then like after the first time, I knew this guy's good. Okay, I've got like this stockpile of songs that I've got here. Have a listen. And he's like, yeah, I like that. Okay. So, you know, you do minor changes, and everyone does their own thing, their own style in things. But I suppose the difference between the EP now and the EP then is we're just a lot more comfortable with each other, I guess. Like, before I was writing songs for myself and then giving them to Glen. Now it's if I'm writing a song, I'm writing a song that I know that Glen's going to sing, or in some cases I'm going to sing it or whatever, but we know how it's going to work. I know that when I do a basic bass part and I bring that to Pete or whatever, Pete's going to do a really cool bass part. And it's we're all going to do different things, and that's why it's a little bit more Walker, I guess. That's the best way to describe it.
It gets better the more you do it, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Practice.
Yeah, so we would be waiting for whenever that will be released.
So are we.
Yeah, we don't have a date set yet. One of the things about the pandemic is you don't really releasing new stuff can either be amazing or it can get just washed away because there was a news article about something happening that day and just no one cares. So it's a dangerous time to release stuff at the moment.
Or
because he can work
Metallica
on
will
it.
put out an album and we're just gone.
That happened on a single. I think the day we released a single, the Foo Fighters or whatever released a single, and it
was Dreaming of You. I remember.
yeah.
That's because they can't tour to promote it. Like, you know,
Yeah.
that's like AC/DC releasing their album last year, brilliant album,
Yeah.
but they're not able to do anything about it at the moment. So I think that's it.
I think it's good in a sense though, because it's giving the fans something to sit on, and when they play the shows, they're almost going to be classic songs because they've been playing them on a loop for so long. Like, you know, like I think it's time to kind of throw the fans a bone right now and give them a little something. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's not all about live shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about the first EP. So the first EP, like the band was founded in 2017, if I'm correct. And then you produced the first EP with Michael Wagener, who has worked on Queen and Ozzy Osbourne. So I'm wondering, how did you get in touch with Michael, and in what way did he help you to develop the sound?
Well, I suppose we recorded the 5 songs of that EP, and we had them kind of ready to go, really. And then I had this idea that, because I had seen another band get with a producer. It wasn't Michael Wagener. It was a different producer, but like a well-known name. It was I think it was Bo Hill.
He produced Warrant, right?
Yeah, he did Warrant and Rat and Winger and that stuff. But I had this idea, well, hang on, if they can do it, we can probably do it. Why not? So I just like Googled him up, found his email, sent him the email and said, hey, could we do something? And he said yes. Oh, okay. I wasn't expecting that. So then the song...
Are you sure?
Like I was going in expecting a full-on no, go away, and we got the total opposite. And we got the songs mixed by a guy who was listening to Metallica, Master of Puppets, and he was doing that, and then he did our EP. So it's kind of crazy. Yeah, extreme.
Crazy. But it's like the accessibility you mentioned at the beginning of the interview. Like, you have the power of the internet. You just connect with him, and yep, you have a big name on your CD, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's very cool.
And well, we know how you contacted the guy. So how did he help to improve your EP, you think? In what way?
I think sonically, like, you can majorly hear a difference. Obviously, it's something that only we've heard, because the only stuff we've put out has been the Michael Wagener mixed stuff. But we can hear a difference. We actually, the guy that produced our first EP and our latest one now, is a guy called Michael Richards, who is incredibly talented. We will keep running back to him and get our stuff recorded by him, because he's the Walker guy. Like, he knows what he's doing. He's put out a phenomenal amount of stuff with bands, and he has a great sound. It just sounded different, and it wasn't necessarily better, but it was just something that we can't quite put a finger on. But it was chosen to be put out because it was a right fit for the EP. I think, quite frankly, though, that Michael Richards has a good handle on this EP right now, and this is the way it's supposed to sound. So it will definitely be a Michael Richards mixed EP this time around.
Cool.
Very cool.
Kelan disappeared.
You
cannot do it anymore.
Okay. Camera went out for a second. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Just to compound on what Glen said there, yeah, we're the only ones that could tell, and how it worked was like he at the time of the original mix on the original EP, Michael Wagener would send us over a mix, And then me and Glenn would listen to it and we'd say, okay, can you boost the bass on this track? And can you turn the snare up on this? And it like back and forth, until we finally went, yeah, that's it. That's the one. And I suppose it is a sonic thing on that original EP. You take... when you take a song and you put it through whatever processes those producers do, a different producer will make a song sound different, no matter who it is. So we just preferred that taste for those songs, and then for these songs, we said, okay, well, if we like what we hear when we record it, that's what we'll do, and that's what happened. We spent days mixing in Track Mix Studios, which is it's located in, I can't remember. It's can someone help me out here? Yeah, Blanchardstown. That's where it is. And we spent days mixing. And can you raise the snare a little bit on that? And can you lower the left guitar? No, raise it up a bit, whatever. And you spent ages doing that until you've got it, and that's what we did. So we're happy.
Good stuff.
That's good.
Great stuff. So let's go a bit Irish. I think it's time, huh? So can I ask your favorite Irish food? Let's start from Glen.
Okay, my favorite Irish
Guinness.
Okay, so we're including drinks?
No. Favorite food, but Guinness also you can count.
Okay. So here's the part where I have to pick the cheesy answer. Like, oh, you've hit me with a hard one because there's so many to choose from. Do you want to pick someone else and I can have a think about it and come back to me?
Pete.
Favorite Irish food? God,
yes.
That's a hard one.
See, it's the irony. Like, you have 3 Irish guys here that don't eat Irish food.
Yeah. I do eat Irish food. I just can't think of it. Probably so many to choose from.
Right then, I'll be the only one that answers this question then and say roast potatoes.
Yes.
That's
okay.
When they're roasted just enough crunchy roasted potatoes.
Roast chicken then. Roast chicken if that's Irish. Sorry for anyone who's vegetarian or vegan.
So Glenn?
What's my favorite? You know what? I'm gonna go with an Irish breakfast. The bone. Does that count?
Yes.
Yes. With all beans, hash browns and stuff, huh?
No beans.
Yeah.
No black.
No beans. Okay. I like with no beans.
Okay. The only way to go.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question then. This would be easy as we have all Irish guys. So what makes you Irish?
What made us Irish?
Yes.
Personally, my mom and dad.
Good one. Yeah.
What makes us Irish? Wow.
What makes us Irish? I'm not sure.
What do your other guests usually say?
Whatever comes to their mind. There's no right.
That's a cop-out. That's a cop-out.
Well, yeah, like my mum's from Tipperary, my dad's from Dublin, and I was born in Dublin. I grew up in Meath, and I suppose that makes me Irish.
Kelan?
I'd say sense of humor. There is a certain Irish sense of humor that's there, I guess. Is that part? Is that something that makes people Irish? They don't have to be Irish to kind of get with that sort of stuff. So I guess that's a thing, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna jump in. My answer would be a whole kind of getting together with the family and sitting down, playing guitars, playing some songs. If that's a way to make people Irish, then I guess that's my answer.
Why not?
Certainly. So, Pete, anything to
yeah,
ask?
I know.
I don't know. I mean, I suppose I love Irish traditional music. I have to say that's a very Irish thing.
Best answer of them all.
Well,
Yeah,
what
I think it was, if I can say this, about 10 years ago, I was involved in a project with a Lithuanian guitarist, and it was a combination of Russian and Irish traditional music, and we had the uilleann pipes as well. You know, the Irish uilleann pipes.
And what was the name of the project?
Sorry.
What was the name of that project?
I actually can't recall. There's a video up on YouTube from 2010. It had a strange Russian name. The band split up a long time ago. Actually, it was a Russian name, I think, but I can't recall. I'll look it up. Actually, I'll look it up.
Yeah, send us link when you have it.
Yeah,
it would be interesting to
Guys,
look at it.
Apologies, could I just jump away for a quick second?
No worries.
Yes, of course.
Just a quick second, okay? Thank you.
Yeah.
You know that
how quick second will be.
the one thing that you'll find with Pete is Pete's played with everybody. Anyone who ever needs a bass player, they go to Pete. And this sounds like a joke, but it's not. I've played in certain instances with Pete where I'm one of his, like, he'll have 3 gigs a night with 3 different bands.
Wow.
And I don't know how he does it. He's got all the songs just stored in his head, and he goes from one practice to a gig, then to another gig. It blows my mind, but he's probably being far too humble here. But he really is kind of the go-to bass player.
Thanks. I don't know. I'm still working on it.
How many bands are you involved all together?
I'm involved in a few, and before the pandemic, I used to be on call in sense to fill in for others in gigs in Temple Bar. But that's obviously quieting down now with everything. But yeah, there's been a couple of nights where I've had to do one gig and then rush off and do a gig with Kelan and Glen. It's fun. I quite enjoy that, you know.
And any interesting stories that you one and then you rush to the other one, anything happens in between?
Was the places closed?
Places? Well, I had not really. Well, mostly they are close, like on either side of the river. But there was another one where I had to grab a taxi quickly and then race, because I didn't have a car at the time, so I had to race. I had to jump into a taxi and race down to, I think it was Tala some years back, to do another gig. Yeah. So a bit of pressure when that happens, but when you pull it off, it's all good.
Sure. Wow, that's amazing. How can you remember so many songs, so different bands, not mixing?
I think when you have if you're a musician and you have a musical mind, you're able to store a lot of songs in your mind, in your head. You know, I think it's I think I'm fortunate enough to be able to do that. You know,
I think a lot of it is muscle memory too.
Yeah, muscle memory. Yeah, muscle memory.
Probably the best way to describe it is to people who don't play instruments is like, if you, like, everybody's heard hundreds and thousands of songs, and when you hear it again, no matter how long ago it is, you can kind of still sing along with a little bit of it. So
yeah,
you can kind of do the same a little bit with the instruments.
Okay, I never thought about this.
So let's do an Irish question about the cocktail, as we like to talk about alcohol. So what Irish cocktail would you recommend?
Don't ask Kelan.
Yeah, he's not drinking, which is odd for an Irish person.
Yes.
Long Island iced tea, maybe, for me. Although it's not really Irish, but I've drank it a few times here. You know.
I don't genuinely. I don't think I've ever had an Irish cocktail, so that's my get out of jail free card on that one.
So I think after the lockdown, the first thing you need to go is to a bar and just order an Irish cocktail. I could name one, Irish coffee.
Irish coffee,
yeah.
I've heard it being recommended. Is good, yeah? It's nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. Like every time I go out, I take an Irish coffee because most of the time I'm with the car, so it's like an Irish coffee. And
There's one called a Baby Guinness. It's a shot.
Oh,
It's
yes.
a Kahlua and Bailey's, but it looks like a tiny little shot of Guinness.
Okay.
That's kind of a cocktail shot.
That's a nice one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm now really curious about the baby. It seems like it's not a big deal, but you know, like in a big small shot, there could be something big in alcohol taste.
Yeah. It's a sweet cocktail anyway because there's Bailey's in it. So.
I think I tried that. Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
So let's go back to W.A.L.K.E.R. I wanted to ask, I forgot, W.A.L.K.E.R stands for anything, like, because I saw W. dot, and or is because of your surname. Glen.
No, it doesn't.
It just looks cool.
It's Walker with dots in the middle.
Okay.
Although, if you really want to make it stand for something, I remember it was we all like Kiss, Extreme, and Rat. Was the only thing we could get to.
Oh, I wrote rat.
Wow.
Like the animal.
The band,
No,
Rat.
no.
Okay.
The band, yeah.
Okay. That's
Hang on. It's there's some Rat for you.
Okay.
I know that song for sure.
Very nice. So, guys,
Nice.
yeah. Good.
The story about that name is, when I first met Glen, he had a different band name. He had like a band. It was almost like a solo project, and I was like, why did you pick that name instead of just your last name? You could be anything, and it just be Walker. And he's like, no. and when we started talking about stuff, I had to convince him that Walker was a good name. He really didn't want to call it because he was like, I don't want it to be my last name. But I eventually convinced him, and I'm glad I did.
It's funny, like sometimes when you're too close to something, you don't really you kind of stray away from it. But also, like by the same logic, it kind of, to me, it seemed like it would sound like a solo project. But now I can see that I wouldn't want to call the band anything else other than Walker, and I don't see it as my last name. Funny enough, I see it as the band's name. You know, in this, obviously in this scenario.
But very often, like, names are very strong for bands. They are like amazing. Doro, Udo, and you, Walker, like, it gets really well into the mind, and I think it has such a rock vibe. So
Yeah.
And Kelan, did you had any ideas in your head before? As you said, you had like a bunch of songs recorded.
No, like once I knew that I wanted Glen to sing the songs that I had, like I had a voice in my head that I couldn't do the singing for where I wanted. Like Time to Party was the first song we ever did. I can't sing like that. So once I heard Glen, I was like, that's the guy, and he's got the best name, Walker. There was no other. It all just kind of fell into place. There was no need to do any, like, we didn't have to do much planning. I really wanted it to be called Walker.
Nice.
So
you can be sponsored by Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker, the whiskey.
Yeah, so if my name was anything else, I wouldn't be in this band, basically.
No. It would still be called Walker.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, guys, can we go back to your EP? Can you tell me your favorite song and why? We start from Glen.
My favorite Walker song?
Yes, from the EP, yeah.
Okay. I would say, okay, I would say my favorite song to listen to, if I was going to listen to a song that we recorded, I'm going to be biased and say it's going to be Spreading the Disease. And my favorite song to play live is probably going to be the same one that Kelan picks. I have two. My second one would be Dreaming of You, just to give it a bit of a nudge, right? My favorite song of all the songs to play live has to be When It Rains, because I love the breakdown and we get people singing along and that whole kind of vibe.
Cool. Kelan?
Okay, so off the new EP, the favorite song is probably Spreading the Disease as well. Just because we know what it was like going from playing, like when it's in your head, and then going into a rehearsal studio and you're playing it through just whatever gear is there, and then when you're in recording and you hear it build, and that's probably my favorite song just from that experience. Just hitting play, and it just hits you. So, and I love doing that live too, because it starts off with one guitar and it's Glen, and then and you feel it, and the crowd feels it too. Although my other like a live favorite was probably Time to Party, because it's the one that we've played the most. We can kind of, or at least we could do it in our sleep. So because we're not paying attention to like actually playing it, because it's just so easy, it comes naturally, we can spend more time kind of interacting with the crowd during that song particularly, or at least I can. So it's just that's probably my favorite.
Nice. And Pete?
Yeah, I like Spreading the Disease as well. It just rocks. It sounds great on the new release. And my favorite Walker song overall is definitely Time to Party. I think it was one of the first ones we did, and I just have many happy memories of even doing the video out in Bray.
Yeah.
So I love that as well.
Nice video.
Yeah.
Yes.
The favorite song to play live with Walker, I think, it's actually one of the covers we do. Am I allowed to say which one it is?
Yeah, whatever your answer is, your answer.
Well, okay. Well, it's the Kiss one.
Modern Day Delilah.
Modern Day Delilah. I like the version we do. I think it's a bit of a powerhouse, if you don't mind me saying, the way we do it. I just really enjoy playing it live, which is
very nice. Very good.
Cool. And while we are on the subject of favorite songs, so here we have a question from a viewer. What was each of yours favorite song to record?
That's a question from a big fan of ours. We want to say thank you to that fan. He's a cool guy. What was each one of our favorite songs to record? Okay, let me think about it.
I like She's on Fire, because it's quite, during the course there's a bit of sort of an intricate guitar bass unison line, which I quite liked playing live, and I just remember I enjoyed recording it. I like doing challenging bits, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
I think if I can pick two favorites, one of my favorites would be Time to Party, and the second one would be, you know what, I'm going to say, I think it would be Spreading the Disease.
Sure.
And not because it's our obviously new release, just because I think the song really just smokes.
For me, it was probably Time to Party recording, because that was a different experience from all the others. We recorded that in 4 hours, I think, from start to finish. And in those kind of scenarios, especially when it was the first song that we ever recorded, you're kind of, will we get it done in that time? But once, so because of that you're kind of excited, there's a lot of adrenaline. Will it happen? We don't know. And then that's the only song that we ever did in 4 hours. So that's probably my favorite one that we recorded because there's some excitement there as well.
That's cool. Yeah, to record song in 4 hours. Wow. And you did mention about the videos. So you have like a video for each of your EP songs, and not all bands have even at least like one video for a song, and you have like 6. So what is your secret?
Being able to record and edit them yourself is probably the secret, because it's understandable why bands don't have a lot of them, because they're hard work to do. They take a long time to edit, to record, to be able to record them. So we can do that. That we have, obviously, because of the pandemic and everything, we can't really do as many as we would like to at the moment. So the Spreading the Disease video, for example, was all studio footage. But that's how we managed to do that video, was thinking about, well, we're going to be in the studio, we should probably record us doing stuff. And so that's how we're kind of able to do music videos. They're fun to record, though, like there on the day with the guys. It's one of my favorite parts about the whole thing, I think.
Yeah, I'd be the same.
Ideas, like a director-wise, who would be this kind of person?
Well, my dad is normally the cameraman while we're playing. So
amazing.
We're lucky to be able to have someone to do that, because I know a lot of bands, like, it can be expensive.
Yeah.
So we're lucky to have someone to do it.
He's the 5th member of Walker.
Yes.
Cool. I hear a lot about spreading the disease, and like you love the song and all. So I'm wondering about the song. How is it spreading the disease, and where the idea came from?
It's a song idea I had that actually I brought to Kelan. So when I originally wrote the song, I had written it under a different song title.